Beta blockers, we have seen repeatedly about a lot of beta blockers. Now, in this category, the widely used drugs are propranolol, esmolol, and metoprolol. Now, what happens with beta receptor activation? Positive inotropy. Positive inotropy means increase in force of contraction. Positive chronotropy, increase in heart rate. Positive dromotropy, increase in conduction velocity. Positive bathmotropy, increase in automaticity. All the actions are excited by beta receptor activation. So when you block the receptor, force of contraction will be decreased. This is called as negative inotropy. Heart rate is decreased. This is called as negative chronotropy. The impulse propagation is reduced. Automaticity is reduced. Now this one is important. Automaticity, increased automaticity, continuous activation of beta receptor may cause increased automaticity, which results in arrhythmia. Use these drugs, the automaticity is reduced, heart rate is reduced, you will be able to treat arrhythmia. Out of them, esmolol has got shortest duration of action. Usually, when surgeries are carried out, because of internal neurohumoral stimulation, heart rate may be increased. At that junction, esmolol is used. It is very short action. It is an ester drug. Once it is given, it shows it action. Ester will get hydrolyzed to acid. The action is done. So these are used during operations. We have seen about beta blockers, the same thing. Again, what are the side effects? All beta blockers may cause hypotension. The non-selective beta blockers may cause bronchoconstriction. Vasoconstriction will be there, and AV block is there because conduction velocity is reducing. Atrioventricular block. That means signal from atria to ventricular may not come, and that is what results in AV block. Now, the next group is potassium channel blockers. Now, potassium channel blockers, you have drugs like so again, potassium channel opening is responsible for repolarization. Understand these words. I have explained it in cardiac physiology. Again, you need to understand what do you mean by depolarization and repolarization. The normal polarity of cell is negative inside. Inside cardiac tissue, there is a negative potential, minus 90 millivolts. When the minus 90 is going to positive 1, see at this junction, it would be around 20, positive 20 millivolts. Minus is changing to positive, hence it is called as depolarization. Again, that minus 20 is falling down to, the plus 20 is falling down to minus 1. It is coming back to polarization, hence it is known as repolarization. So anything which is coming down is considered as repolarization. The repolarization is because of potassium channel opening. So the next class, the third class is potassium channel blockers. Potassium channel blockers. What happens with potassium channel blockers? This phase will get altered. Instead of directly coming down, it will be delayed like this. So what happens? The overall action potential duration is increased. When action potential duration is increased, heart rate decreases. So this repolarization phase is delayed by using potassium channel blockers. The drugs are amiodarone, dronedarone, butylide, dofetilide, bretylium is also there. But major drugs are these one: amiodarone, dronedarone, butylide, dofetilide. One more drug is there known as sotalol. Now, sotalol is a unique drug because it is a beta blocker as well as potassium channel blocker. Now, look at this guy, amiodarone. Now, amiodarone is a very peculiar drug. It acts as sodium channel blocker, beta blocker, potassium channel blocker, calcium channel blocker. It has got all the effects. The action is non-specific. It is not specifically binding and blocking a particular receptor. It is blocking all of them: sodium, beta, potassium, calcium. When it is blocking every receptor, it has got multitude of side effects. Non-specific drugs, multitude of adverse effects. Not only that, when you see the structure is a little bit similar to thyroid hormones. It contains iodines. The moment iodine is there, it interferes with thyroid networks. So it has got multiple side effects out there. Photophobia. When the drug is taken, it causes photophobia. Photophobia means Phobia means fear. Photon means light. When this drug is taken, getting into the light will cause us a fearness because it causes irritation when the light reacts with the drug. The drug will get accumulated in our skin. When photon falls, it gets irritation. So people will develop a kind of thing called as photophobia. Not only that, it also accumulates in our eyes. Amiodarone, the drug, will cause corneal deposits. A small crystalline flakes will be coming from the cornea, which is a worrisome one. The other one, it causes pulmonary fibrosis. Pulmonary means our lungs. The ability, lungs will be continuously contracting and dilating because when we inhale gas, they will get dilated. The bronchioles, when we exhale, they will get contracted. The ability is because of contractile tissue. Pulmonary fibrosis means when the contractile tissue death occurs, they will be replaced with fibrous tissue. That results in lung stiffness. That also caused by this drug. Bluish coloration of skin is also occurs. So amiodarone has got multiple side effects. Because of its structure, it will interface with thyroid metabolism. It causes corneal deposits. It also causes photophobia. It causes pulmonary fibrosis and then bluish coloration. Because of this multitude of adverse effects, amiodarone, until unless it is required, it is not used. So all the drugs, how do they? They act on this phase and delays the potassium channel closed opening. Because potassium channels are closed, repolarization is delayed. After that, see, dronedarone is also similar to amiodarone, but it doesn't has got iodine, so side effects are limited. Ibutylate, doftilate are also similar drugs. They block potassium channel. Sotalol has got prominent beta blocker as well as potassium channel activity. But all the ions, all the channels will get blocked with amiodarone. Now, the last class, the fourth class, calcium channel blockers. I have already explained about calcium channel blockers. We have three different classes are there in calcium channel blockers. Phenylalkylamine. In that class, you have only one drug, that is verapamil. Right? Benzothiazepine. In that class, you have only diltiazem. Third class, dihydropyridines. In dihydropyridines, you have amlodipine, nifedipine, all pines are there. Amlodipine, nifedipine, felodipine, nisoldipine, nicardipine, nimodipine. Out of them, that dihydropyridine drugs, calcium channel blockers, they are selective to blood vessels. Whereas verapamil and diltiazem, they are selective to cardiac tissue. Now, arrhythmia, to which organ it occurs? Arrhythmia occurs to cardiac tissue. So there is no point using drugs which are vasoselective. So in this class, you will be using only cardioselective calcium channel blockers. Cardioselective calcium channel blockers are verapamil and then diltiazem. Now, all calcium channel blocks, the mechanism of action is similar. They block L-type calcium channels. When that L-type calcium channel is blocked, calcium entry into the cell is inhibited. If calcium is not getting inside the cell, actin-myosin combination will not occur, contraction will not take place. Verapamil, especially, it acts at nodes. SCA node and AV node calcium channel will get blocked. If you remember, when we have discussed about cardiac electrophysiology, I have explained SCA node, AV node has got are automatic cells. Their action potential generation, they will not have this flat phase. Immediately here, one more action potential development occurs. This occurs because of release of calcium. Now, these calcium channels are blocked by verapamil. If that is blocked, automaticity is reduced. If automaticity is reduced, tachyarrhythmia can be controlled. These are the drugs. Now, verapamil, the common side effect is it causes constipation. L-type calcium channels are blocked. In intestine also, the L-type smooth muscle calcium channel is there. When it is blocked, it causes constipation. Leaving that, bradycardia is one of the major side effects. Why? How verapamil is acting? It is reducing calcium current inside SCA and AV. When it is reduced, heart rate will get reduced. That is what causes damage. So overall, these are all the four major classes out there which are used to treat arrhythmia. Now, along with that, some miscellaneous drugs are there. Now, these miscellaneous drugs, the important drugs are digoxin. Now, we have seen about digoxin when we discussed about congestive heart failure. What is the mechanism of action of digoxin? Digoxin inhibits sodium-potassium pump. When the pump is inhibited, calcium entry into the cardiac cell is reduced. But leaving that, it has got an indirect action. It indirectly activates vagal response. When vagal response is activated, parasympathetic nervous system is activated. The effect of parasympathetic nervous system activation is reducing heart rate. What happens in arrhythmia? The major problem in arrhythmic condition is tachyarrhythmia, increase in heart rate. When digoxin is used, arrhythmia is reduced. Tachyarrhythmia can be controlled. Now, along with digoxin, one more drug is the adenosine. Now, adenosine is also very short-acting drug. It just acts for 10 seconds. Now, during the time, it reduces cardiac contractions in the automatic. So this is also used, especially digoxin and adenosine are widely used to treat supraventricular arrhythmia. The arrhythmias which occurs to atria, they are treated by these two drugs, digoxin, adenosine. Now, along with digoxin, adenosine, you have one more drug is there called atropine. Atropine is anticholinergic. Now, atropine is used when someone has got hypotension with bradycardia. Understand this one. Cholinergic system or parasympathetic system, when they are activated, heart rate is reduced. This is what happens during nights. When cholinergic system is activated, acetylcholine is released, it reduces heart rate. This is one of the action of digoxin. Digoxin indirectly activates cholinergic system, heart rate is reduced. Now, anticholinergic is atropine. Anticholinergic means opposite to the actions of cholinergic. What happens with cholinergic? Heart rate is reduced. What happens when you use anticholinergic? Heart rate will be increased. So atropine is used to treat bradycardia. When heart rate is very low, atropine is used. So these are all the drugs. Now one more drug is there, magnesium sulfate. So this magnesium sulfate intravenously is given to treat torsades pointus. The exact mechanism of action is not known, but still it is used to treat torsades pointus. So the overall arrhythmia, you have these drugs are there. You have 4 classes are there, miscellaneous drugs are there. Again, see, you have atrial and ventricular arrhythmia is there. Atrial is known as supraventricular arrhythmia. Supraventricular or atrial arrhythmia can be treated by, prominently treated by digoxin, adenosine, and verapamil. These three are the choice of drugs to treat only atrial arrhythmia. If arrhythmia occurs to only atria, then these three drugs are preferred. Whereas ventricular arrhythmia is treated by 1B drugs, lidocaine, mexiletine. They are selective when the arrhythmia is only to ventricle. But what happens is, because electrical stimulation is there in entire heart, if atrial arrhythmia is there, it begins with only atrial arrhythmia, but it goes with entire atrial and ventricular. So both atrial and ventricle, rest of all the drugs can be used to treat atria and ventricle. So what you need to remember is atrial arrhythmia can be, or supraventricular arrhythmia can be treated by verapamil, digoxin, adenosine. Whereas only ventricular arrhythmia can be treated by lidocaine and mexiletine. Remaining others can be used to treat any other kind of arrhythmia. This is about arrhythmia. Let me explain.